Hello students, today we are going to learn the second poem of your English textbook, First Flight. The name of the poem is Fire and Ice, which is written by Robert Frost. We had already got the introduction about the poet Robert Frost in the previous poem, Dust of Snow. Let me tell you once again about the poet. Robert Frost was a 20th century American poet. He was born in San Francisco in 1874 and died in Boston in the United States in the year 1963. His work was initially published in England before it was published in America, and he won Pulitzer Prize 4 times for his contribution to poetry. This poem, Fire and Ice, is a symbolic poem in which the poet is talking about the end of the world. Here, the poet uses fire to represent human desire and ice to represent hatred. We know that fire and ice are two opposite things. Now, let's look into the first stanza of the poem. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. In this stanza, the poet talked the belief of a group of people who say that fire will end the world. This set of people believe that the world will be burned and destroyed by fire. Here, fire symbolizes human desires. And the poet says that the unending desires have made people greedy, and this has led to jealousy. These emotions of people would ultimately lead to the destruction of the world. Now, the poet acknowledges this fact from his own personal experience that fire has the capability to bring human beings on the verge of destruction. So, he would like to favor those people who say that the world will end in fire. Now, let's look into the second stanza of the poem. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. In this stanza, the poet talked about the belief of another group of people. Some people believe that if the world has to perish twice, it will surely end due to ice. Here, ice symbolizes hatred. Poet believes that in today's world, hatred is spreading much among the people. It's a very sad thing. Hatred is long lasting and it is as destructive as desire to bring an end to this world. It also can be a potent weapon to blast the entire world. Thus, the poet is trying to convey the readers that fire, ice, hatred, etc. are symbolically more powerful weapons than the nuclear weapons. Actually, this is the message the poet is trying to give us through this poem. Now, the central idea of the poem. The central idea around which the entire poem revolves is that human emotions are destructive when allowed to run out of control. They can destroy a person morally, mentally, and physically. The poet tries to convey that love, compassion, equality, considerateness, and sympathy alone can help mankind in establishing peace on earth. Fire and ice are symbolically used here. Fire symbolizes human desires and it can bring an end to this world. Ice symbolizes coldness, hate, and indifference in human relationship and can be the cause of the end of the world. Now let's look into the glossary and the rhyme scheme of this poem. Fire is a symbolic representation of desire. Ice symbolizes hatred. Perish means to die or destroy. Hold means to agree. Favor, think it right. And suffice means to be sufficient. The rhyme scheme of this poem is A, B, A, A, B, C, B, C, B. Let's look into that. First answer. Last word of first line is fire. That is A. Ice, we give B. Desire and fire, rhyming with the first word, so it is A. So, first answer, the rhyme scheme, rhyming pattern is A, B. A is the rhyming pattern of the first answer. Second stanza, here the last word is twice, so that will be B because it is rhyming with ice. Then hate, it is C. Then ice, again B. Great and hater rhyming, so it will be C. Suffice twice ice, these are rhyming, so it will be B. So here the rhyming scheme is B, C, B, C, B. B, C, B, C, B is the rhyming pattern of the second stanza. Okay. Now let's look into the poetic devices used here. Poetic devices are alliteration, metaphor, metonymy, antithesis, repetition, paradox, hyperbole. These are the poetic devices used here in this stanza. Let's see. First is alliteration. So alliteration means you know that repetition of consonant sound. Here you can see sir sound is repeated. Some say, okay, sir sound is repeated here. Then world will end in fire. So here were sound is also repeated. Were sound, okay, were sound is also repeated. Then here also again sir sound. So we can say alliteration. Then favor and fire. For sound is repeated. Okay, for sound is repeated. So alliteration is one of the device used here. Then metaphor. Metaphor means you know indirect comparison is made between two different objects here or different things here, like fire. Fire and ice. These are compared to human desires and hatred. Fire is human desire and ice and hatred is compared. Okay, so comparison is made between fire and desire and ice and hatred. So indirectly these things are compared. So we can say metaphor is the figure of speech here. Then metonymy. Here fire stands for desire. So we can say metonymy means the substitute, use of substitute word. One word is used for another word. Yeah, one word is representing another. So that is metonymy. Then antithesis. Antithesis means you know use of opposite ideas. Yeah, opposite word is used. Here fire and ice both are opposite to each other. So this use of opposite word here is called antithesis. Okay. Then repetition, that if we come to the second stanza, you can see here repetition. I think I know. I think I know. So this I repeated here. So this is repetition. Okay. And what else? Here it is paradox. Paradox means what? Paradox means use of contradictory or false statement with a hidden truth. If it had to perish twice, if the world had to perish twice, two times, the world had to perish two times. So this is the device here. Paradox is used here by the poet. Okay, it's a contradictory statement. Then hyperbole means it's an overstatement. We can also say here an overstatement, that is the world has to perish twice. Okay, an overstatement is used by the poet here. So hyperbole and paradox is also used. So these are some of the poetic devices used by the poet here. Okay, so I hope that you all understood this poem well. So we will meet in the next session. Until then, take care. Bye. Thank you.